Arlington, I think, has some stuff. Irvine or Irving is kind of there, and then I'm forgetting the other one. Haltom City. That's another alternative for that area. Okay, I'm about to show a very important resource that I received. Shout out Alex Davis from Chironex. He's the one that gave me this information. Discord. There is a DIY booking Discord that you can go to. I think you have to request to join. I don't remember exactly how it works. But there's in the DIY Discord, it goes all the way up there, and you're gonna scroll down until you find show booking. In this show booking Discord chat, you can straight up ping an entire state and say, hey, coming through, we need some bands for this bill, I have a venue. You literally can do that, and there's no guarantee that you'll get a response, but oftentimes you'll get things back. For example, I was trying to fill something in Omaha, Lincoln area in Nebraska, and within minutes had someone recommend Blackheart Booking. Unfortunately, I had already talked to Blackheart Booking. He was the first one I went to try and get the show on, but it didn't work out. This person responded shortly after and gave some recommendations for venues. And then for Lincoln, I got recommended Bonehead Booking and Prowess Booking. Unfortunately, I had already reached out to Bonehead Booking and I hadn't gotten anything back. Sam from Prowess Booking is very reliable and he responded very quickly. Unfortunately, he was like, I'm not touching that show because I don't really book in Lincoln that much. I would rather it be in Omaha, but Blackheart Booking has that show that night, so I'm not taking it. So it happens, but at least I now have an extra card on the Rolodex. Someone that I can call on later on. And that's really what a lot of the early stages of touring is about, is just making connections. So yeah, join the DIY show booking Discord. Also, shout out Emo Storm Chaser. That's Micah Dry from Beef out in Arkansas. He's booked a few shows for Muscle in Arkansas. And Necromeyer was on one of those shows actually. And it's funny, I made that reply and then Micah immediately messaged me personally and gave me a new recommendation to set up a Lincoln show, so that looks like it's going to come through. But yeah, there are some guidelines. Don't always default to pinging an entire state, because there are some states that have larger markets that if you're pinging, for example, for Dallas, it wants you to ping Dallas, not the state of Texas, because there's just it's too many people getting pinged for no reason, because the market is, for some states they have cities that their single city market is as big as some other states statewide markets. So Atlanta is another situation like that, but they have guidelines for pinging. Very, very useful tool. You want to stay on top of that. So, What we're about to do right now is we're about to draw out a route. And we're going to do research together here and find every promoter, band, and venue we can for each of those cities. Any suggestions on cities would be appreciated, and we can move from there. Oh, shit. Most of this is from the lens of a hardcore musician, so that's kind of how I view things. Easiest way to find bands and venues and promoters is just insert city hardcore. Springfield, Missouri hardcore. Okay, Bing is not being a friend, so I'm going to look it up on Google. Boom. Just like that, we already find an Instagram page. I'm going to click on it. Here we are. And what you want to do is you want to look at all of the flyers that they have posted. And see what bands are on them. And they'll most of the time have them tagged. Like there. What you're going to do is check and make sure that when you click on these things, on these tags, on these flyers of bands that play, that it says the city that they're from. This is confirmed a Springfield hardcore band. Let's go to Figurine 316. Okay, so this is a Wichita band. Covert operations. Get out of my face. Remind me tomorrow. Confirmed says Springfield hardcore band. And basically what you're doing is just compiling a list of bands. I'm not really seeing promoter names here. So it's possible this is one of those scenes that it maybe hasn't exploded enough for the need of a promoter yet because they aren't having any real national talent come through. This is one of those cities it seems like bands will put on a show and they will all independently promote it from their Instagram or Facebook pages. Okay, here's another one. It seems like Lindbergh's Tavern is a common place to play in Springfield. First band I see. It's not going to it for some reason. Fleshless Body, another Springfield band. Covert Operations, we've already seen them on that, so that probably means they're a band that plays a decent amount because they have it on there twice. Precursor is another one. Hardcore from Springfield, Missouri. You get the point. It's you just go through down a list and you compile a list of bands. You can hit up a promotion page like Springfield, Missouri Hardcore. This one right here. You can ask them on Messenger. There's no guarantee they're going to reply or give you the answer you want, but at least you're trying. You can ask the bands, hit up the venue. My go-to is hit up everybody. Venues, promoters, and bands. And there's kind of an order to it. I usually will default to a promoter first. Give them about 2 weeks to respond. If they don't respond, I do a follow-up email, and then I hit up the venues and the bands at the same time. And some bands will be cool. Like they'll be more than willing to help you secure a venue and even jump on the show and help promote it too. Like some bands just independently promote shows. That happens pretty decently often. Okay, so Bing Maps is better, but Google as a search engine is significantly better. Okay. There we go. Look at that. Good Gigs JXN. Flyers. Obviously I'm not signed into Instagram here, but the same concept applies. Reddit also is a really good source of information for finding bands in a scene. See, look. Oh. Okay, this is Mississippi and Louisiana. MS Paint for Mississippi. That's one. Even this person also recommends Good Gigs JXN. My recommendation is Crooked Letter Collective. They're the ones to go to. There's our pals Face Rot and Human Instinct on a Sanity Slip show at Vibe Studio in Jackson. And there's Bite Back from Shreveport with 430 Steps, who's coming through on February 22nd at Feed and Seed in Lafayette here. Hole Opener Hag. Those are a lot of our Louisiana homies. Okay, so I'm not signed in here. It's just recommending porno to me. That's not what I'm looking for.